Greetings, YouTubers. It is I, your coach, Radioactive Mayo, here for week 3 of the PWC Pokemon World Championships. I'm coming here today with a post-commentary replay analysis. I didn't record this battle live, but I'm just going to be going over the replay here and giving you my turn-by-turn analysis of what happened in the game. So, yeah, let's hop right into it here. You can see our opponent's team, he's got kind of like a pseudo rain team slash electric terrain team going on here. He brought Diglett, which is impressive. I was like, wow, he actually brought Diglett. But yeah, let's just basically hop right into it and see what happened. So starting off, I think I'm just going to lead with my Rotom-Heat because it's a trusty lead. He's going to lead with Tapu Koko, which works out fine. I resist both of his dual stabs, and there's nothing that Tapu Koko can really do to threaten my Rotom-Heat. So I'm fine here to just click Volt Switch. I think Volt Switch is looking pretty free versus his team, especially with the electric terrain up. He's got 3 flying types and a water type. So I'm just going to click Volt Switch here and see what he does, but he's going to go for a Thunder turn 1, and it's going to do 50%, which is a lot. So immediately I'm thinking, okay, this Tapu Koko might be choice specs. Just might be choice specs. That was a lot of damage. We Volt Switch out into Claydol because I feel like, he could be locked into Thunder now, and there's nothing that Tapu Koko can really do to threaten Claydol either. I feel pretty confident going into Claydol, so I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to set up Stealth Rock as he goes into Pelipper, which is a reasonable play. Now I'm thinking, to pivot into this Pelipper, he's probably going to go for a water move. I can just go into my Pyukumuku, take any hit he wants to go for. He's going to fire off a Weather Ball, and that's going to do 30%, which is a lot of damage. 30% is a lot of damage, but I'm thinking, this Pelipper shouldn't be able to do much to this Pyukumuku. I can probably just throw off a Toxic here, whatever he wants to do. And now he's going to follow it up with a Hurricane, and that Hurricane's actually going to do 47%, which is a lot of damage. I was not expecting Pelipper to be doing that much damage here to Pyukumuku. So I'm thinking now, okay, this Pelipper is probably offensive, not defensive, judging by that amount of damage on that Hurricane. And if that's the case and it's offensive, it's actually a really big threat to my team because, he can Hurricane Whimsicott, he can Weather Ball Rotom-Heat, and if, this is an offensive Pelipper, it might have speed investment to outspeed my defensive Rotom-Heat. So Pelipper is actually looking like a huge problem to my team. And at this point, I don't really have much to take the hits, and Pyukumuku's only at 30%, so I don't really have much of a choice here other than to just sacrifice Pyukumuku to another Hurricane. So that's what I'm gonna do. So at this point, I'm just gonna go out into Dragapult. Basically, he has to fear Thunderbolt on Dragapult. I don't actually have Thunderbolt on this Dragapult. I am just bluffing here. I really have Substitute, Will-O-Wisp, Disable, and Hex. My plan going into this battle was to status a bunch of things with Will-O-Wisp, Toxic, Stun Spore, etc., and win the game with Hex. So that was my game plan. But I know that he has to fear Thunderbolt. He probably expects me to go for Thunderbolt. I doubt he stays in. So I'm going to take this as an opportunity to just set up a substitute and see what happens. I figure even if Pelipper stays in, he's going to take toxic damage and he'll put himself in range of dying to Hex. But he's actually going to go into Tapu Koko, which works out really well. He's probably predicting a Thunderbolt or a Dragon move, but I just set up a substitute, and now this works out great because I can get a free hit off on this Tapu Koko on whatever he wants to do, and it looks like we are in fact faster than Tapu Koko, so Dazzling Gleam is going to break our substitute, but now we can actually just stay in and knock out this Tapu Koko, which is beautiful. I will take that all day. So Tapu Koko, huge problem, is going to be eliminated thanks to our substitute, which is great. Now he's going to bring out Diglett on Dragapult. Let me go back here. So he brings out Diglett on Dragapult. So Diglett's interesting, right? So normally Diglett's thing is it traps things with Arena Trap. Normally, Pokemon can't switch out on Diglett. but there's a mechanic in the game where Ghost-type Pokemon cannot be trapped. So that means Dragapult is essentially immune to Arena Trap. Um, no Ghost type in the game can be trapped by either Shadow Tag or Arena Trap. Doesn't work. So Dragapult can actually switch out here on Diglett, and I'm just going to go out into Whimsicott because I can take anything this Diglett might want to go for. You know, not really too scared of Diglett. Earthquake only does 15%, which is fine. So Diglett's not a problem. I figure he's probably going to switch into one of his flying types. I'm just going to go for a Leech Seed and try to annoy whatever he wants to go into, and the Leech Seed off on Crobat is really nice. So the Leech Seed goes off here. Now I'm like, okay, I can just switch into Rotom-Heat here on whatever this Crobat wants to do, you know. I can take any hit that this Crobat wants to go for offensively and potentially get some health back with Leech Seed. And he actually goes for Taunt, which is perfect because I was just planning on clicking Volt Switch anyway, and we get health back with Leech Seed, which is perfect. Now that Tapu Koko is gone, it's looking like he really has no switch-ins to Volt Switch. Um, all of his Volt Switch resists are dead except for Diglett, but I'm not scared of Diglett because if Diglett comes in, I can just follow it up with an Overheat. I'm immune to Earthquake. So, yeah, Volt Switch is looking very free here. Just going to click Volt Switch, but he's actually going to go for Roost, and that Roost is going to remove Crobat's flying typing and allow Crobat to take the Volt Switch comfortably. So I'm like, okay, this is fine. I'm going to bring out Dragapult here just to get some Leech Seed recovery back. And that's it. And now I'm thinking, okay, we're back in the same situation. I'm just going to bring out Rotom-Heat once again. So, and this Crobat is going to double out into Pelipper. So we bring in Dragapult there for one turn, get some Leech Seed health back, which is fine. I go back into Rotom-Heat to try to deal with Crobat, but he doubles out on Dragapult into Pelipper. So I'm like, okay, Pelipper is in. Like I said, this Pelipper is kind of scary now. I think it's offensive, and if it's faster than Rotom-Heat, it could just knock us out here with a Weather Ball. So I don't want to risk Rotom-Heat, especially since Volt Switch is looking very free versus the rest of his team. So I'm like, alright, well, Claydol is looking like the weakest link to my team at this point. Tapu Koko is already dead, and he still has two water types alive, including Crawdaunt, and Crawdaunt is a huge threat, and Claydol can't do anything to Crawdaunt, so I'm thinking I'm just gonna sacrifice Claydol here to Pelipper and try to bring out Dragapult again and get a little bit more momentum. But he's actually gonna make a double switch again into Crobat. So he makes two switches in a row, going from Crobat on Dragapult into Pelipper, and then Pelipper on Rotom into Crobat. So now I bring out Claydol, fully expecting to just die to a Weather Ball. But now Claydol is here and on Crobat, and this works out fine because Crobat shouldn't be able to do much at all to this Claydol, and I can just hit it with a potential Ice Beam. He's gonna go for Taunt, but that's fine. I already got up my Stealth Rock. I'm just gonna go for Ice Beam, and it doesn't quite take out the Crobat. Crobat's gonna live at 12%. So now I'm thinking, alright, Crobat's low. He's definitely gonna go for Roost. I can go for Earth Power to catch him on the Roost and cancel off that damage and potentially knock him out. If he doesn't go for Roost, if he switches out, he's going to die to Stealth Rock damage. So I'm going to go for the Earth Power here, predicting the Roost, and we do predict the Roost correctly. And that Earth Power is going to do just under 50%, unfortunately. So that's kind of unfortunate. Crobat's going to get Black Sludge recovery back, and now after the Black Sludge recovery, it's not really worth it for me to stay in and keep going for Earth Power. So I'm going to switch out here again, and I'm just going to go back into Rotom-Heat now on this Crobat, as he just keeps roosting up, which is totally fine. And you already know here, Volt Switch is free, so I'm just going to say, you know what, let's just go for Volt Switch. If he roosts, he roosts, so be it. He goes for Roost, I go for Volt Switch. So now, I'm getting a free switch on this Crobat. I'm finally going to bring out Scizor on this Crobat. So I'm thinking, okay, Scizor can do some damage to this Crobat. This could be good, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking, this Crobat might have Heat Wave. We've only seen Taunt and Roost, and if this Crobat has Heat Wave, he'll go for it now to try to knock out Scizor. I don't really want to risk it. I think it's pretty safe for me to just bring out Rotom-Heat once again, on a potential Heat Wave. I want to see if he has Heat Wave. If he switches out, it's fine. I can probably follow it up with Volt Switch. Because he didn't stay in with Pelipper last time, I think Pelipper might still be slower than Rotom-Heat. So let's see what happens here. Don't really want to risk Scizor to a potential Heat Wave. And Crobat does have the Heat Wave, so we predicted right on the Heat Wave. I saw that coming. Really glad I didn't let Scizor take the Heat Wave. But now we're back to where we started. I'm just going to click Volt Switch again. If he roosts, he roosts. I could play this game all day, but he actually double Heat Waves, maybe predicting me to go Scizor again. But I've got no reason to make that play because I can just Volt Switch for free. And now I'm getting a free switch on this Crobat, and this Crobat is only at 30%. So now that this Crobat is low, now I'm going to bring out Scizor, and now I'm going to click Bullet Punch. This is an Adamant Metal Coat boosted Bullet Punch, and it is going to be enough to take out Crobat. So perfect, perfect, perfect. We had to dance a little bit there around Crobat, going for Roost over and over again. Dodging the Heat Wave, but it works out really well. Scizor picks it off with Bullet Punch, but now we see Crawdaunt. Crawdaunt comes out here, and I'm thinking, okay, Crawdaunt is a huge threat. I don't really have any switch-ins to this. I mean, I have Whimsicott, but the thing is, Whimsicott does not have any attacking moves. I think I have Leech Seed, U-Turn, Taunt, and Stun Spore. No Moonblast, and of course, Dragapult only has Hex. So now I'm thinking, okay, Crawdaunt's actually a huge threat. I really underprepared for Crawdaunt. I don't really have much to take it out. And this Scizor does not have a ton of speed. This Scizor actually has very minimum speed, so if Crawdaunt has speed investment, max speed, even Adamant, it will be enough to outspeed my Scizor. So I considered sacking Claydol, but then I was like, that doesn't really get me anywhere. I think I'm just going to stay in with Scizor and try to knock this thing out with Superpower. Maybe I'll live a hit. I think that's my best play. And we just knock out the Crawdaunt in one hit with Superpower. So we do outspeed the Crawdaunt and knock it out with Superpower. So Scizor coming in clutch there, dealing with Crobat and Crawdaunt. And now Pelipper's going to come back out. And once again, Pelipper's a problem. So I'm thinking, alright, well, my Scizor is still at full HP here. I can probably live any hit this Pelipper wants to go for, and it's toxic. So let's try to knock out this Pelipper as well. I think if I Swords Dance and then into Bullet Punch, I might be able to knock it out after the toxic damage. So I'm going to get the Swords Dance up. Where we are faster than Pelipper with Scizor, so that confirms that Rotom-Heat would be faster than Pelipper. Good information to know. We take the Weather Ball with it does 80%, and we get the Swords Dance up. And now I'm thinking, all right, can Bullet Punch knock out Pelipper? I'm Adamant, Metal Coat boosted, +1 Scizor, but Pelipper survives at 5%, and we go down to a Hurricane. But that toxic damage from Pyukumuku early on in the game is going to come in clutch and knock out the Pelipper. So clutch toxic early game from Pyukumuku. Pelipper goes down. So we trade Scizor for Pelipper there. Scizor does fantastic, takes out Crobat, Crawdaunt, and then Pelipper there at the end. So now all we have left is Hawlucha and Diglett. So really all we have left is Hawlucha, basically. And I'm thinking, alright, I don't want to let Hawlucha get set up. If I just go into Rotom-Heat and I just click a Volt Switch, I'll do big damage to it, even if it tries to set up. My plan is to just Stun Spore it with Whimsicott, with Prankster, and kill it with Hex, with Dragapult. So Hawlucha, I think I can deal with it just fine. We're going to go into Rotom-Heat. We're just going to click Volt Switch here, see what it does. He's going to go for Close Combat, and we live at 1%, miraculously. And after the special defense drop, that's going to be enough to remove Hawlucha with a Volt Switch. So that works out perfectly. Hawlucha ends up being not a huge problem at all. And now all we have left is Diglett. Diglett is not a problem at all. I'm just going to finish off this Diglett rightly with my Dragapult, because what is a Diglett to a Dragapult? Sucker Punch does a respectable 43%, but we're going to take out this Diglett, and that's going to be GG to the Georgia Grookeys. So that game went pretty well. I think we got lucky there being able to outspeed the Crawdaunt. If he had speed investment on his Crawdaunt, I think this could have been a different game, but I also think I really underprepared for it, so that's my fault. but I think we played really well around the Tapu Koko, Pelipper, and Crobat especially. So great game overall for us. That's going to be a win for week 3, and GG to the Georgia Grookeys. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this post commentary analysis. I'm thinking what I'm going to do now is um, I'm going to continue to do these post game replay analysis for the PWC, and hopefully that'll keep these videos short. It'll remove a lot of the background thought process, and I can just, analyze the battle turn by turn. If you still enjoy my live commentaries, when I live commentary the battles, I will still do that in the FPE. You can go check out my FPE playlists, and I will still do live commentaries in the FPE. But over here in the PWC, I'm going to focus on just doing replay commentaries and replay analysis. So that's that. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know, leave a comment, whatever, and goodbye.